The first news: couple has an open marriage so complicated, it's hard to keep track. Michael loves his wife, Kamala. Michael also likes his 27-year-old girlfriend, Rachel. So 6 months ago, Kamala decided to do what most wives would never even consider. She invited Rachel to come live with them and their 6-year-old son. Monogamy. Monogamy just didn't work for the couple, whose relationship is featured on Showtime's polyamory. Polyamory, married and dating. What does work for them is a polyamorous polyamorous lifestyle. Kamala and Michael tell Nightline reporter Nick Watt in a report above. Rachel is not the first person they've invited into their relationship during the course of their 12-year marriage. The couple previously shared their home with another couple, and Kamala has been in a relationship with another woman for 2 years. Monogamy can be a really beautiful agreement between people when they're deeply in love and they don't have desire for another, Kamala says, but most people in our society are just monogamous because their vows said, "I will forsake all others." The trio's seemingly blissful relationship. They do yoga together, love tantric sex, and collectively raise the couple's son. Leaves the Nightline reporter wondering if maybe they're on to something. With so many marriages ending in divorce, oftentimes because of infidelity. Infidelity. Is polyamory the answer to all our divorce woes? Jenny Block, an author of Open: Love, Sex, and Life in an Open Marriage, thinks so. It's becoming clear that heterosexual monogamous marriage simply doesn't work for most people. And I think people are tired of being unhappy and dissatisfied, she told the Daily Beast earlier this month. We cannot control our own desires and we certainly cannot control the desires of others, said Block, who has been in an open marriage for the past 10 years. You cannot tell someone, don't be attracted to anyone else, don't desire anyone else. You can say, if we're going to be together, I want it to be monogamous. But you cannot control the other person's heart and mind. The heart wants what it wants. Conversations about polyamorous relationship may be increasingly common, but that doesn't necessarily mean American couples are adopting the lifestyle in large numbers. Pamela Hack, whose 2011 book, Marriage Confidential, including discussions with couples in open marriages, says that by their estimates, only about 5% of all marriages meet the definition of open. Watch the video about to hear more about Kamala and Michael's open marriage. Then check out the slideshow below for 5 celeb couples who've been rumored to be in open relationships. The second news. Newtown report renews focus on role of Lanza's mom. Hartford, Conn. As Adam Lanza withdrew from the world into his bedroom, the only person he appeared to be close to was his mother, who cooked his favorite meals, did his laundry daily, and bonded with him over shooting and guns. Investigators' final report on last year's school massacre in Newtown provided new insights into Nancy Lanza's home life, with her troubled adult self, and renewed the debate over whether she bears any responsibility for the bloodbath that began with her shooting death. I think that we will always be bewildered by someone who did express her concern for her son, why she sought to have him engage with firearms. Gov. Daniel P. Molly said Tuesday. Not even those folks who oppose reasonable gun safety legislation would argue that it was a good idea to have someone who was evidencing this kind of disturbance have possession of the kinds of weapons that he had possession of. Adam Lanza's fascination with violence was apparent to teachers and other acquaintances, investigators said in their report. He collected materials on mass killings and kept a spreadsheet ranking of mass murders. But his mother wasn't allowed to enter his bedroom, according to the report, and it was unclear how much she knew about his obsession. While the details released Monday led some observers to direct their anger at her, suggesting she was more enabled than victim, others were more sympathetic. A friend of hers, Marvin LaFontaine, said Tuesday that she did her best raising her son, even though he was difficult and resisted help from others, or talking about issues such as other children picking on him. That really frustrated her, LaFontaine said. It just wore her down to the bone. James Allen Fox, a criminologist at Northeastern University in Boston, said Nancy Lanza didn't ignore her son's psychological problems and can't be blamed for his actions. She was a victim, not an accessory, he said. We can easily second-guess parents, and there's a lot there we can question. But the fact of the matter is many people commit horrible crimes despite the best efforts of parents, siblings, and others. Adam Lanza, 20, shot his mother in the head 4 times December 14th, then drove to Sandy Hook Elementary School, when he killed 20 first graders and 6 women with a semi-automatic rifle. He committed suicide as police arrived. The report detailed some of the family's efforts to address the needs of a young man described as withdrawn, lacking an appreciation of others' feelings, and beset with significant mental health issues. He had evaluations of many times over the years. He was homeschooled for a period because he did not like the noise at Newtown High School, and he refused medications and behavioral therapies that were suggested for him. Some parents of other troubled young adults said they can understand why Nancy Lanza was going through. Peggy Sinclair Morris, a special education teacher in Midlothian, VA, said it was like the wild, wild west as she tried to find the right treatment for her 18-year-old daughter, who has an anxiety disorder, and has attempted suicide several times. If your child does not have certain symptoms, she said, you can get passed around by the system. I feel empathy for his mom just because, like I said, you try to find the services, and when they're not available, you try to do what you have to do to help your kids. Sinclair Morris said, just because your son committed that horrible act doesn't mean she was a horrible mother. Nancy Lanza, who was divorced from Adam's father, indicated that she did not work because of her son's condition. In their spacious Newtown home, she catered to his requests, cooking to his specifications and getting rid of a cat because he did not want it in the house. In the weeks before the massacre, she said her son hadn't gone anywhere in 3 months, and that they would communicate only by email, even though they lived under the same roof. She often took her son shooting at a gun range. She legally purchased all the weapons her son carried the day of the massacre, and she had written a check to buy him a pistol for Christmas. The report said that she was concerned about her son, but that she never expressed fear that she or anyone else was in danger from him. He was never violent or threatening toward others before the attack, according to the report. A spokesman for Lanza's father, Peter Lanza, didn't respond to a request for comment. The third news: heavy rain snow in eastern U.S. thwarts some Thanksgiving travel. A wintry blast of heavy rain, wind, and snow across the eastern United States disrupted Thanksgiving travel plans on Wednesday for some of the millions of Americans hitting the roads and tagging to the skies on the busiest holiday travel day of the year. While the travel delays were not as bad as many had feared, meteorologists warned that falling temperatures could create icy road conditions for those who put off travel until Wednesday night. The wintry weather caused around 265 flight cancellations and prompted delays at major airports along the East Coast, including Boston's Logan Airport and New York's John F. Kennedy International Airport and LaGuardia Airport, according to the FlightAware.com tracking site. Tim O'Air, an audio professional working on a Broadway show in New York, said his flight home to Dallas from LaGuardia Airport was delayed by 2 hours. As long as it gets me there, I don't care, he said. I'm just worried because I got a 60 turkey in the fridge, and my wife can't boil water. Kenneth McLantry said he had a hassle-free flight from Minneapolis to the Philadelphia International Airport, where delays were already being reported early in the day. It was so smooth, I didn't know there was anyone else traveling, said McLantry, who planned to spend the holiday with relatives. Travel conditions were expected to worsen later on Wednesday, with a combination of precipitation and rapidly falling temperatures, resulting in slick roads. According to AccuWeather.com. Meteorologist Bill Dagger. Travel around some of the big cities by road could be a little tricky if people wait until tonight, Dagger said. Rain was moderate to heavy in the southeast, mid-Atlantic region and northeast on Wednesday, with light to moderate snowfall from the southern Appalachians to western New York, the National Weather Service said. Snow in some areas. The National Weather Service said western Pennsylvania, western New York, and Vermont could get more than a foot of snow before skies cleared on Thursday. Flood watches were in fact for eastern portions of the northeast United States. The Thanksgiving holiday is one of the nation's busiest travel times, with 43 million Americans expected to make trips this weekend, travel group AAA said. 8 states along the Interstate 40 corridor connecting North Carolina to California bolstered their patrol of the 2,555-mile highway on Wednesday with state troopers posted every 20 miles, part of an effort to help prevent traffic fatalities, said Tennessee Highway Patrol Colonel Tracy Trott. Some 37% of travelers will leave on Wednesday, making it the year's busiest single day of holiday travel, AAA said. That travel forecast was expected to hold true despite the stormy conditions, AAA spokeswoman Heather Hunter said. With the storm, we expect some people may have shifted their dates, leaving earlier to get ahead of it, she said. The giant character balloons in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade in New York may be grounded if the winds are too strong. City regulations prohibit flying the huge balloons when sustained winds top 23 miles per hour, 37 km per hour, and gusts exceed 34 mph. The National Weather Service predicted on Wednesday that New York City would be sunny and breezy on Thursday, with winds up to 24 mph and gusts as high as 40 mph. Gusty winds toppled a tractor-trailer on Interstate 77 in Virginia on Wednesday, slowing traffic that otherwise had been flowing briskly, according to an employee at the Welcome Center in Lambsburg by the Virginia-North Carolina state line. Travelers were in good spirits and eager to arrive at their destinations, said Tonya Cogger, the center's tourism relations manager. They're ready to get to Grandma's Thanksgiving, she said. The fourth news. Dying Chicago woman weds partner in first Illinois gay marriage. Chicago. A Chicago woman who is dying of cancer wed her partner on Wednesday in the first legal gay marriage to be celebrated in Illinois 6 months before the state's law recognizing gay unions takes effect. The cancer patient, Virginia Gray, 64, and Patricia Edward, 65, were wed in a private ceremony in their Chicago home 2 days after they were granted an emergency marriage license. in federal court, according to Lambda Legal, a legal group that advocates for gay rights. Illinois' gay marriage law, signed by government-paid Quinn last week, does not take effect until June 1, 2014. The couple had sued, arguing the delay discriminated against them by preventing the couple from marrying before Grace Day. I'm so excited for the community, for today is a beginning, one so richly deserved, said Gray in a statement. Illinois last week became the 16th state to recognize same-sex marriages. That was the latest in a series of gay rights victories, as Hawaii earlier in the month approved gay marriages, and New Jersey Governor Chris Christie in October dropped his appeal of a court ruling that legalized same-sex nuptials. This story has been refiled to correct spelling of lambda in second paragraph. The fifth news. No pecan pie for Thanksgiving? This is not. Having pecan pie for Thanksgiving? Consider yourself lucky. A pecan shortage has driven up the price of pecans by 30%, the New York Times reports, resulting in pricey pies and picky pie buyers. What's behind the dwindling pecan supply? Record rainfall, feral pigs, squirrels, and a growing love affair between the Chinese middle class and the pecan, according to the paper. What's behind the dwindling pecan supply? Record rainfall, feral pigs, squirrels, and a growing love affair between the Chinese middle class and the pecan, according to the paper. According to pecan industry officials, orchards produced roughly 302 million pounds of the nuts in 2012. In Georgia, the nation's top pecan producer, the pecan harvest is expected to yield just half the amount it did last year. The reason rain. In Texas, the pecan harvest was hurt by pigs and squirrels, always looking for a free nut. The crop faced a lot of wildlife pressure. Blair Krebs, Associate Director of Sales and Marketing at the Texas Pecan Growers Association, told the Times. The other pressure comes from China, where the American pecan is coveted. The country consumes more than a third of the U.S. pecan crop. The Hudson Pecan Company, Georgia's largest pecan orchard, sends more than 90% of its pecan crop to China. China's infatuation with the pecan is relatively new. Before 2006, no one in China ate pecans, according to James McWilliams, author of The Pecan, A History of America's Native Nut. But at a trade show in Paris last year, an official from New Mexico's Department of Agriculture introduced a group of Chinese buyers to pecans. The Chinese cracked them open, sampled them, and were intrigued. MC Williams writes, so intrigued that they traveled to New Mexico to meet growers, tour orchards, and discuss tentative contracts. At the time, China didn't import any pecans, and it didn't grow any either. The Chinese now eat pecans like we eat pistachios. Slate's Beth Goulart writes, partially shelled and brined, then roasted for extra salty crunchy goodness, all of which adds up to Peking pecan pies, prices that can range from $20 to $34 per pie. The sixth news: is the knockout game real? There's a terrifying craze that, if you believe the media reports, is sweeping the nation: the knockout game, in which someone walks up to an unsuspecting person and punches them in the face or head, knocking them out cold with one blow. Or perhaps not. A growing number of sources have cast doubt on whether this so-called craze is actually a crime trend, or simply the news media manufacturing an urban myth out of a handful of isolated incidents. Are people safe to walk the streets, or are there gangs of bloodthirsty urban youths, minds numbed by years of violent video games, stalking pedestrians with the sole intention of punching their lights out? The answer probably lies somewhere in between. The sad fact of the matter is that despite years of declining crime statistics, violence remains a grim reality in many cities and towns. New York City had more than 31,000 aggravated assaults in 2012, while Chicago reported more than 12,000 for the same period, according to the FBI. Even smaller cities like Toledo, Ocho, and Birmingham, Alabama, reported more than 2,000 adults in 2012. Video evidence: the existence of knockout crimes can't be denied, since they have been captured on video several times. Security cameras in Pittsburgh, New York City, London, and other cities have proven that there are people who will approach total strangers with the sole purpose of punching them in the face. No theft is involved, and the assail- and the assailant simply runs away after delivering the blow. And this type of aggression can be deadly. In September, 46-year-old Rafael Santiago of Hoboken, NJ, was killed in such an assault. According to CBS New York, and a 13-year-old boy in Syracuse, NY, was recently sentenced to 18 months of confinement after playing knockout with a group of friends, when the youth's punch failed to knock out a 51-year-old man. An older teenager joined in the game, delivering a punch so severe it caused bleeding in the man's brain. He eventually died. But do these incidents signal a nationwide crime trend? No. If the word trend implies some degree of increase, said Jeffrey Botts, director of the Research and Evaluation Center at the John Jay College of Criminal Justice in New York City. Appealing to our leisure brains, the media coverage has been increasing, and at times, it seems that the number of incidents is growing, but this is mainly because reporters are going back to collect and describe events from past years, Botts told Life Science. Indeed, reference to a knockout game have existed as far back as 1992, according to the Associated Press, which attributed the death of an MIT student in Cambridge, Mass, to the knockout game. Collecting every reference to the issue over the past 2 decades could yield enough data to call the knockout game a growing trend.